Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Osama Shah. The BJP has distanced itself from the comments that was made by its MP Nishikant Dubey as well as Dinesh Sharma criticizing the judiciary. Congress leader Abhishek Manu Singhvi, he said that it appears that the Supreme Court and the Chief Justice of India and all venerable institutions are fodder for senior BJP politicians. The BJP president, JP Nadda, he has rejected the comments, saying these were personal views of these leaders. He also affirmed the BJP's respect for the judiciary, saying it's an inseparable part of democracy. He also said that he has directed both the leaders and other members of the party to not make such comments.
जो गाइडलाइन पार्टी की आ गई है हम उसके साथ हैं और कभी कभी सत्य सही हो तो भी बोलना नहीं चाहिए क्योंकि हर चीज़ की एक मर्यादा होती है। तो मैं निशिकांत भाई मेरे छोटे भाई हैं, मैं उनको सलाह दूंगा कि इस प्रकार की बात सार्वजनिक रूप से नहीं करें तो ज़्यादा बेहतर है। आजकल की जनता सब जानती है।
I think, unfortunately, some parties have created a misinformation and propaganda around the bill, and they have also gone to the Supreme Court to try and block the bill. Everybody in the country, and including in people in Munammam, know who has really worked hard to solve their problems, who has brought the legislation, and who, in turn, for the last 35 years, has done nothing for their problems.
निशिकांत जी बहुत कुछ भी बात कहने के लिए पुराने जाने जाते हैं, लेकिन संविधान का उनको रत्ती भर भी ज्ञान नहीं होगा, इसकी मुझे शंका तो थी। अब ये बात पुख्ता भी हो गई है। राम की पार्टी के लोग जब विपक्ष में थे तब कई बार गए हैं, कोर्ट का इन्होंने दरवाजा खटखटाया है, तब इनको ये बात नहीं समझ में आती कि उस समय वो राष्ट्रपति या सरकार के खिलाफ जाते थे। निशिकांत जी को पता होना चाहिए कि किसी भी व्यक्ति को अगर ऐसा लगता है कि जो चीज़ होती है वो न्यायोचित नहीं है तो कोर्ट के दरवाजे उसके लिए हमेशा खुले हैं।
And Sunil Prabhu joins us live to get us more on this. Sunil, this is quite a sensitive issue, and the BJP also realizes that Nishikant Dubey's comments can come back to haunt them. Is this damage control by the BJP at the moment?
Well, it's definitely damage control, but it's also a trial balloon. Nobody within the opposition and anybody who knows Nishikant Dubey or the others who have spoken out are basically trial balloons. And they realize that somewhere down the line, things haven't gone the way they had wanted. And that's why they've done course correction with Mr. JP Nadda, who's the BJP president, saying that we have done it. Have they issued notice to Nishikant Dubey? Have they done a show cause notice as they did with Harshvardhan and the others at that time who would laugh? And, when Danish Ali made those remarks and they abused him on the floor of the House in Parliament, it's in that backdrop that one has to look at it. And that's why the Congress, and no less than the legal head, Mr. Abhishek Singhvi, has now asked the Attorney General for criminal proceedings to be proceeding against Nishikant Dubey, and whether he'll give permission. They've done it for others who are stand-up comedians and others. Will they follow the same for the Member of Parliament? And really, is he a real trial balloon, or are they really going to take action and walk the talk in terms of ensuring that, you cannot really attack huge and important institutions of democracy, and in this case, the Supreme Court and the Chief Justice of India. And I think that's the crux of the matter. We leave it there. Let's wait and see what happens, how it plays out in the next few days.
All right, Sunil Prabhu, thank you very much for getting us all the latest in that story. And the former Karnataka Director General of Police, Om Prakash, he was found dead under mysterious circumstances at his residence in Bengaluru. The police suspect that he was murdered as a sharp weapon was probably used to attack him, and the police has now detained his wife. He is a 1981 batch IPS officer. He was stabbed multiple times in the stomach and the chest. 3 members of the family, they were in the house during this crime.
The son of Mr. Om Prakash, he has been contacted. He is giving a complaint against this particular incident. Once the complaint is given, FIR will be registered and further investigation of the case will be taken up. Immediately there are no arrests. So it looks like from the initial information that is there that things may be internal in nature. It seems that some sharp weapon has been used because there is a lot of blood loss, because of it that it seems the death has happened.
Now postmortem is going on as tomorrow.
So once the FIR formalities are complete, so we'll give the requisition for postmortem, and once the postmortem is complete, further formalities will be taken up.
And my colleague Deepak Bopanna joins us to get us more on this. Deepak, absolutely shocking developments there. Give us the details.
Well, definitely. And, the post-mortem needs to be conducted so that, clear-cut information is there available with the police as to how many times he was actually stabbed. The information that I am picking up is that multiple wounds on the stomach and on the chest. Right now, the police suspect, like you did say, that the wife could be behind the murder. The reasons, of course, as of now, not very clear. There is suspicion that they were having internal quarrels for quite some time. There were 3 members of the family that were present. Initially, questioning was happening inside the residence itself. Post-mortem will get underway once the FIR is formally registered. That's what we just heard the police officer there as well mention. But more importantly, right now, to try and ascertain what exactly led to this, heinous crime is going to be the main purpose of this investigation. While, of course, they do have in all certainty confirmation of who the accused is, but because of how high-profile this case is, the police do not want to really jump the gun.
All right, Deepak Bopanna, thank you very much for getting us the latest. The National Commission for Women team over the past 2 days visited the Malda relief camp and violence-affected areas in Bengal's Murshidabad. After their return, the NCW has now urged the Bengal government to act immediately to ensure the safety of women and children in Murshidabad. The NCW chief also said that she assured the victims of all the support. Meanwhile, 4th arrest has been made in Murshidabad violence. One of the prime accused in the murder of a father and his son has been arrested. This person, identified as Ziaul Sheikh, he is a resident of neighboring village of Jafrabad. He has been on the run since the 12th of April. Meanwhile, the NCW chief has also met the governor, C.V. Ananda Bose. The Supreme Court will hear pleas on the 21st of April.
The mayhem that broke out in Murshidabad a week ago continues to haunt the Mamata Banerjee government in West Bengal. Even as the NCW completed its 3-day visit to the violence-torn areas, what emerges are narrations of how the violence has torn apart homes and wounded the community so deep.
कि जो 4 दिन पहले मां बनी है, उस महिला को अपने 4 दिन के बच्चे को लेकर जान बचाने के लिए घर से भागना पड़ रहा है। जब बच्चा घर पे आया है तो बच्चे का शानदार स्वागत करने के बजाय वो 4 दिन का बच्चा यही दुनिया देख रहा है।
But Mamata Banerjee isn't taking the allegations lying low. A 4-page letter to the residents of West Bengal, she has shifted the blame not just on the BJP, but also the RSS for the first time, accusing them of divisive politics in the state, and her India bloc ally standing firmly behind her.
कार्रवाई भी हो रही है, जांच भी हो रही है, कई लोग गिरफ्तार भी कर लिए गए हैं, लेकिन इसके साथ साथ याद रखिएगा एक बात, ये दंगा कराने के पीछे अगर किसी का हाथ होता है तो हमेशा भाजपा ही होते हैं।
A 4th accused has been arrested for the alleged murder of a father-son duo in Jafrabad. But all eyes on the Supreme Court, which will hear 2 petitions seeking NIA probe into the communal clashes on Monday. Shreyashi Dey for NDTV.
After Omar Abdullah raised concerns over flight delay, Delhi airport has now reacted to Omar. It said, and I quote, "Dear Mr. Abdullah, further to our exchange of the morning would highlight that it is incorrect to blame Delhi airport for the current delays or diversions. The fact is, the closure of runway since the 8th of April for essential instrument landing system upgradation was planned well in advance in consultation with all the relevant stakeholders and based on historical wind patterns over the 4 months." And Tanushka joins us on the phone line to get us more on this. Tanushka, can you provide more context over Omar Abdullah's concern and the reply that the airport has issued?
Right, Osama. So, Omar Abdullah, Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, was traveling from Jammu to Delhi when his flight got diverted, and he took to social media platform X and wrote about it. That for 3 hours they were left in the air, and that they would divert it to Jaipur instead of, the flight coming directly to Delhi. And what he says is that, they did not have any sort of information. However, Delhi airport has responded to his post and said that it is incorrect to blame the Delhi airport for the current delays and diversions, because they have already, and for the past couple of days as well, been providing information on the closure of the runway 1028, which has been closed since 8th April for essential instrument landing system upgradation, and that these things have been planned for over 4 months ago, keeping in mind the historical wind patterns. What Delhi airport has also said is that this is also on part of the airline, sense that Delhi airport has said that have made no changes to deal with such a shut runway, which is why the passengers are having to face delays as a result of the air traffic congestion that is building up in Delhi. So what Delhi airport essentially means to say is that they have been providing information with respect to passenger safety, keeping the easterly winds in mind as well, and the closure of the runway. And it is now the responsibility of the airlines to, accordingly accommodate such delays and diversions and inform their passengers in advance. Back to you.
All right. Tanushka, thank you very much for getting us all the latest. 3 people were killed in a cloudburst in Jammu and Kashmir's Ramban. Several residential and commercial structures also collapsed after a cloudburst led to torrential rain, wind and hail across the region. Highways have remained blocked and vehicular movement has been barred. NDRF, the SDRF teams, they are at the spot for restoration, but heavy rainfall, it has continued in Ramban. Due to bad weather, restoration work has been stalled. The Chief Minister, he has urged the people to follow advisories. In fact, Farooq Abdullah has also requested the Centre for help.
यहाँ पे पुलिस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, एनडीआरएफ, एसडीआरएफ सारे मिलके और सिविल क्यूआरटीज हमारी जो हैं, जो पुलिस के साथ एसोसिएशन है उनका, सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के साथ एसोसिएशन है। उसके अलावा बहुत खुशी की बात यह है कि सिविल लोग भी हमारे साथ मिलके काम कर रहे हैं। वो ये नहीं देख रहे हैं कि कौन है। नेशनल हाईवे का सबसे बड़ा इशू है रामबन टू रामसू। इस एरिया में 7 से 8 जगह पे बुरी तरह से नेशनल हाईवे में प्रॉब्लम्स है, जिसके ऊपर रेस्टोरेशन वर्क करने में अभी डिफ़िकल्टी, जैसे मैं बता रहा हूँ, आ रही है। अगर मौसम साफ़ होता तो इस वक्त रात को भी हम इसमें काम पे लगा के कुछ न कुछ रेस्टोरेशन वर्क करते। इसलिए अभी ये काम मुझे लगता है बारिश क्लियर होने के बाद ही सुबह से रीस्टार्ट करना पड़ेगा। जो हुआ था अभी किस हद तक, कितनी देर तक बारिश होती है और कितना डैमेज होता है, वो तो अब सुबह ही हो पाएगा।
धीरे धीरे सिचुएशन थोड़ी सी नॉर्मल होते जा रही है। जैसी बारिश अभी भी देखिए पूरे इलाकों में पूरा घेर के रखा है, और एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की और सरकार की यही प्रायोरिटी है कि किसी तरीके से जो है पहले जो है लोगों को बचाया जाए, उसके बाद जो रास्ते बंद हुए हैं उनको खोला जाए, तब जाके जो है रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन स्टार्ट होगा। और उसके बाद जो हमारा अभी जो डिप्टी सीएम साहब उमर साहब की डायरेक्शन पर उनको रामन उनका दौरा था, तो उनका भी यही कहना था कि पहले फर्स्ट हैंड सिचुएशन का असेसमेंट करते हैं, उसके बाद जो रिपोर्ट सरकार को पेश की जाएगी, और इसको जो है एक क्लेमिटी जब डिक्लेयर किया जाएगा, ताकि रामन को जितनी भी जो नुकसान हुआ है उसको रिस्ट्रक्चर करने के लिए इसका जितना भी नुकसान है लोगों की भरपाई तो नहीं हो पाएगी, लेकिन कुछ न कुछ जो है जब तभी मिलेगा जब क्लेमिटी डिक्लेयर होगा सर।
And the latest update as far as the Silampur murder case is concerned, 9 accused, they have been arrested, including 2 minors. The police of Delhi's northeastern district, they have arrested the 9 people, including 2 women and 2 minor accused in this sensational murder case in Silampur area. Remember, this incident took place at around 7:38 p.m. on the 17th of April, when the police came to know that a young man was attacked with a knife in the slum. On reaching the spot, the police came to know that the injured were taken to JPC hospital, where doctors declared him dead. The deceased, identified as 17-year-old Kunal, the police had taken fast action and arrested the accused in this particular case on the 18th of April.
Police have solved the sensational murder case in the Silampur area, arresting 9 people, including 2 women and 2 juveniles. The incident occurred on April 17th, 2025, around 7:38 p.m. When police received information about a knife attack on a young man in a slum area. The police team reached the spot and found that the injured person has been taken to JPC hospital by family members, where doctors declared him dead. The deceased was identified as Kunal, was 17 years old. The police acted swiftly, arresting Zikra, who goes by the name Lady Dawn, on April 18. Further investigations led to arrest of 8 more people on April 20. Sahil, who is 18 years old, Suhail, who is 35, Nafis, who is 32 years old, Anish, who is 19-year-old, Zahida, who is 42 years old, Vikas, who is 29-year-old, a 17-year-old juvenile, and a 15-year-old juvenile. Now, the investigations have revealed that Zikra, Sahil, and the 2 juveniles conspired to attack Kunal. The other accused helped the main culprits hide and escape. The police found that Sahil and Kunal had an old rivalry, which led to the attack on April 17th. Now, police are now working to recover the weapons which were used in the crime and continue to investigate further in this case. But the recent findings have shown that an old rivalry was what caused, the incident at the first place. We did see a lot of protest of amongst the people who are living in Selampur, but this is what the police has in fact taken a swift action and are saying that the further investigation is in fact right now underway, and they are looking for the murder weapon right now.
The US Vice President J.D. Vance, he will arrive in India for a 4-day visit, marking his first official trip to the country. He will be accompanied by his wife Usha Vance and their 3 children. Vance will meet with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi in order to discuss the trade tariffs and strategic ties, focusing on finalizing a bilateral trade agreement. J.D. Vance will also interact with India's NSA as well as the External Affairs Minister to strengthen the bilateral relations. And the Israeli military has said an operational misunderstanding has led to the killing of 14 emergency workers in southern Gaza last month. An inquiry into the incident by the IDF found a series of failings. It said that the killing of a UN worker shortly afterwards was a breach of orders during a combat setting. 14 emergency workers and a UN worker were killed when a convoy of Palestinian Red Crescent Society ambulances, a UN car and a fire truck from Gaza's civil defense came under fire near Rafah on the 23rd of March. And Vishal Vivek joins us to get us more on this. Vishal, elaborate on the operational misunderstanding that has led to the killing of the 14 workers in southern Gaza there.
Well, that is where the investigation has pointed to that quote-unquote operational failures that led to the death of at least 15 medics. 14 of them were emergency workers, and there was 1 UN staffer, as you mentioned. And this deputy commander was the one who started the firing, who started that operation, and he will be fired is what the investigation has been told. And this is one of the most severe punishments in the 18-month war that has killed close to 50,000 people in Gaza alone. And Israel at first claimed that the medics' vehicles did not have emergency signals on when troops opened fire, but later backtracked that claim. So that is where the investigation has been revolving around. And cell phone video recovered from one medic contradicted that initial account. So that is where the initial doubts were there, and that is where the investigation has pointed out to the fact that the initial claim was not right, and this senior commander will be fired, and the military investigation will continue. It will be handed to an independent body that will continue the investigation. There could be further actions, but so far we can say that this will be one of the most severe cases where some action has been taken against Israel on its own troops, which has become a rarity ever since the war started. There have been very few investigations against its own forces. And video footage obtained shows the ambulances had lights flashing and logos visible as they pulled up to help another ambulance that had come under fire earlier. So a lot of evidence pointed to the fact that they were just emergency workers. They had no weapons on them, and they were killed indiscriminately and without any proof.
Right.
And their bodies were also handled not properly. So all of these details have emerged.
All right, Vishal Vivek, thank you very much for getting us the details. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Saturday announced an Easter truce in the conflict in Ukraine, starting on Saturday evening and lasting till midnight on Sunday. This announcement comes amid a proposal from the United States that was presented to European leaders during Secretary of State Marco Rubio's visit to Paris this week. Russian President Vladimir Putin declared what he called a humanitarian ceasefire, a 6-hour Easter truce from Saturday evening to midnight.
Руководствуясь гуманитарными соображениями, сегодня с 18:00 часов до 00 часов с воскресенья на понедельник российская сторона объявляет пасхальное перемирие. Приказываю на этот период.
But even before the candles went out in Moscow's cathedral, fresh shelling was reported from Ukraine's front lines. Ukraine recorded 387 shelling incidents and 19 assaults during the hours Russia claimed to be observing a ceasefire. Ukraine's military confirmed that while activity has reduced, the fighting hasn't stopped. Explosions were heard in Russian-held Donetsk. Drone attacks hit Kherson. On Easter Sunday, Zelensky stood before Kiev's St. Sophia Cathedral in a traditional embroidered shirt and gave a message of hope.
Дорогі народи, нехай цей день настане. Година зла скінчиться. Прийде день життя, день миру, день України. День довжиною в століття.
The timing of Putin's truce also raised eyebrows. It came a day after Washington issued an ultimatum: show progress in peace talks or the United States moves on. It also followed Russian claims of gains in Ukraine's incursion into Russia's Kursk region. Ukraine's foreign minister called the truce a headline grab, adding that real trust needs 30 days of silence, not just 6 hours of showmanship. While fighting raged, a rare moment of diplomacy, Ukraine and Russia completed one of the biggest prisoner swaps of the war. Over 500 soldiers exchanged, including wounded troops on both sides, with help from the UAE. But real peace still seems distant. But for now, what Russia calls a ceasefire, Ukraine calls camouflage. And peace still feels like a promise too fragile to trust. Ridhima Kadia's report for NDTV World.